Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a chilling tale that's been whispered around campfires for generations. It's a story about a place where the line between reality and nightmare blurs, and trust me, you'll want to hear every spine-tingling detail. Picture this, a village called Hollow Creek. Not just any village, but one cursed, they say, long before anyone alive could remember. And at the end of a winding forest road, there stood a house. A crooked, wooden structure that no one, absolutely no one, dared to approach after nightfall. Why? Because sometimes, on a full moon, lights flickered through its black windows. And sometimes, people swore they heard whispers, like breath brushing against their ears, chilling them to the bone. The villagers, they avoided it. Even in broad daylight, a wide berth was given. But, as in all good legends, there's always one. One man named Adam. Now, Adam wasn't your average villager. He didn't believe in ghosts. He was a skeptic, a man fascinated by mysteries, convinced that every legend, no matter how outlandish, had a logical explanation hidden beneath its spooky surface. He believed that if you just looked hard enough, you'd find the truth. So, on one particularly cold October night, when the air was crisp and the shadows long, Adam decided to go there alone. Armed with nothing but a trusty flashlight and his camera because, proof. He set out. The forest, as he entered it, fell silent. Not just quiet, but a deep, unnerving silence, as if nature itself was holding its breath. The trees, ancient and gnarled, seemed to bend inward, their skeletal branches forming a canopy that hid him from the rest of the world. And the deeper he walked, the heavier there became, until even his own footsteps felt muffled, absorbed by the oppressive stillness, when the house finally appeared through the dense trees. It looked ancient, older than time itself. With windows like hollow eyes staring out into the darkness, the front door, slightly ajar. As if inviting him, beckoning him closer. A chill that had nothing to do with the October air crawled up Adam's spine, but his curiosity, stronger than any fear, urged him forward. He pushed the door gently. The creak that followed was slow, drawn out, like a warning sigh from the very structure. But Adam, ever the skeptic, ignored it. He stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, the hallway a graveyard of broken furniture and forgotten memories. It was dark, save for the beam of his flashlight cutting through the gloom. But then, something caught his eye. At the very end of the hall, standing stark against the decay, was a tall mirror. Perfectly clean. Not a speck of dust, not a smudge. It was as if someone had polished it that very morning, despite the century of neglect surrounding it. Adam felt that chill again, prickling at the back of his neck. He raised his flashlight, its beam illuminating his reflection in the pristine glass. He looked normal. He looked like Adam. But then, something was wrong. Terribly wrong. His reflection's eyes, they blinked slower than his own. A fraction of a second behind. He lifted his hand, a natural, inquisitive gesture, but his reflection, it didn't follow. It simply stood there, perfectly still, and then it smiled. A slow, unnerving smile that didn't reach its eyes. That was the first moment. The first cold, hard realization that maybe, just maybe, the stories weren't just stories. Maybe the legends weren't just folklore. The whisper came from behind him then, soft and distant, like a secret shared on the wind. Did you bring it back with you? Adam froze. Every muscle in his body locked. He spun around, flashlight beam darting through the darkness, but there was nothing. Just empty shadows, stretching and twisting in the corners of the decrepit hall. He slowly, reluctantly, turned back to the mirror. And that's when he saw her. Standing directly behind his reflection, a woman. Her face was pale, almost translucent, her eyes to voids of pure blackness. Her lips moved, forming words, but Adam couldn't hear a sound. It was like watching a silent film of a nightmare unfolding right before his eyes. Then, a cold touch, a sensation like ice pressing against his shoulder. He spun around again, heart hammering against his ribs. But again, nothing, only emptiness. His flashlight flickered once, twice, and then died, plunging him into absolute darkness. But the mirror began to glow faintly from within. A soft, ethereal light that seemed to emanate from the glass itself. Adam, against every instinct, against every warning bell screaming in his head, found himself drawn to it. Unable to resist, he stepped closer. His reflection in the glowing mirror began to change. Its skin turned a sickly gray. Its mouth opened, stretching wide in a silent scream that tore at Adam's very soul. And its eyes bled into pure, inky blackness, just like the woman's. He tried to run. Oh, how he tried! But his body wouldn't obey. His feet were rooted to the spot, his muscles rigid and responsive. The whispers became louder now. Not one, but dozens of voices, overlapping, intertwining, all chanting his name. Adam, Adam, Adam. Until it sounded like thunder, reverberating through the house, shaking the very foundations. The floorboards beneath him groaned, then cracked, and he fell to his knees, gasping for air that suddenly felt thin and suffocating. His reflection in the mirror, that horrifying, transformed image, reached out. It pressed its hand against the glass, and cracks spiderwebbed across the surface, glowing like veins of pure light. Spreading from its touch, Adam screamed, a raw, primal sound of pure terror. And then, as suddenly as it began, everything went silent, utterly, enervingly silent. When the villagers, hesitant and fearful, finally made their way to the house the next morning, the silence had settled again. The house was quiet. The front door, which Adam had left ajar, was now locked from the inside. They searched, but found no trace of Adam, nothing. Only his camera, lying forgotten on the porch, covered in a thin layer of frost. They took the camera. And when they developed the film, the very last photo was a picture of the mirror. And in that picture, behind the glass, was a new face. A pale, empty-eyed face staring out. It was Adam, trapped. Since that terrifying night, anyone who dares to walk near the house swears they can see it. Their own reflection, lagging behind them. In mirrors, in windows. And if they stare too long, if they let their gaze linger, the reflection, it begins to smile. On its own. Waiting patiently. Waiting for the next soul to step too close, to get pulled into the world beyond the glass. Where Adam and the pale woman are still whispering, forever inside the mirror in Hollow Creek. So, what do you think? Is it just a story? Or is there something more to Hollow Creek? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this chilling tale, please hit that like button, subscribe for more spooky stories. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.